Hello, students, and welcome to the video lecture on the U.S. Constitution and the Articles of Confederation. Now, the main goal here is to understand that the U.S. Constitution was created as a result of the Founding Fathers realizing that the Articles of Confederation did not work and was not an efficient government. So that's why the title is the U.S. Constitution and the Articles of Confederation. The Articles of Confederation were adopted in 1781, and they were very weak. The Founding Fathers created a very weak government because they had just come from a monarchy, a tyrannic monarchy under King George III, and the pendulum swung too far in the opposite direction because they created a government that was too weak. They had powers to declare war and to trade with other countries, and that's about it as far as their major powers. So we're going to talk about some major problems with the Articles. Problem number one is each state set their own trade policy. This discouraged states from trading with one another. We also saw this develop into rivalries, economic rivalries between states, and an incoherent policy. The 13 states had 13 different policies, and it made it hard to do business. If the states within our country could not do business with one another, then it almost made it irrelevant, or it made it useless to even have a country. And indeed, the Articles, as we've talked about, were nothing more than a firm league of friendship, and that's what this turned out to be. So each state setting their own trade policy was confusing and was not efficient. Problem number two is the national government could not tax. They had to rely on the states to make voluntary donations to the government. And as you can imagine, this was unreliable, and this didn't happen like it should. The states didn't pay like it should. The government owed a lot of money because of the war. They'd borrowed a lot of money to fight the Revolutionary War, and we couldn't pay our war debts with no way to tax. Number three is there was no president. The 13 representatives from the 13 states chose a leader from amongst themselves in a parliamentary type of system. And this leader was part of the legislative branch and was not a powerful leader and was not looked to as a figurehead for the country. And with no national leader, we had no leadership. With no leadership, we had no direction, and we were not continuing down a successful path. As I've already mentioned, rivalries developed among the states. The states started bickering amongst one another, making treaties with foreign nations, and so forth. Problem number four is we just had one branch of government. It was the legislative branch. This legislative branch was unicameral, meaning there was one body. To approve any action, 2/3 of the states had to agree to it. This was difficult to achieve because states in different parts of the country had different interests. Each state only had one vote, and to change or amend the Articles, all 13 states had to agree, which was nearly impossible to accomplish. So these four problems were just four of the many, many problems that occurred under our Articles of Confederation government. This led to what became known as the Constitutional Convention of 1787. The Founding Fathers originally met to fix the Articles, not to get rid of them and write a new government. However, after 5 days, they realized that the Articles could not be fixed and a new government was needed. So they set about writing our current U.S. Constitution. The principal author of that is James Madison. He's known as the father of the Constitution. And the Constitution was ratified or officially accepted in 1789. Now, we've discussed the Enlightenment a lot already this year, and we're discussing it again because the Enlightenment also influenced the U.S. Constitution just as it did the Northwest Ordinance and the Declaration of Independence. They drew upon the ideas of natural rights and social contract. So, if you will remember, natural rights are our God-given rights that all men have everywhere that cannot be taken away. An example in the Constitution comes from the preamble. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. So the mention of securing the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity is an example of natural rights thinking. If you look in your books on page C7, which is the U.S. Constitution, that will take you to Article 1, Section 8, which lists the powers of Congress. This is an example of social contract thinking in the Constitution. The people agreed and wrote down and set out the powers that Congress was allowed to have. So what you see is the people and the government agreeing on what their powers would be. The people, of course, being the source of power for our government. Thank you for watching this video lecture. Have a great day.